Justice is not a natural gift. It is a relentless demand, crafted in struggle and secured in law. This famous quote is by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, where he says, इस इतिहास में हम एक ऐसे मोड़ पर खड़े हैं जहां हमें सिर्फ अधिकार नहीं बराबरी के मायने तय करने हैं. Welcome to Dissent Dialogues, where we refuse to accept easy answers. In a world fractured by inequality and cloaked in empty promises, we ask the questions that unsettle the status quo. What is justice in an unjust society? Is it redistribution of wealth and power, or is it recognition of dignity, identity, and selfhood? Today, we bring the two titans of political thought, Nancy Fraser and Excel Honeth, into dialogue, dissent, and dispute. But we don't stop at theory. We put them on trial through three defining Indian legal battles. Indra Sohni, where caste met constitution. Nafteed Jauhar, where love took the stand. Supriyo, where queer dreams were respected but not realized. This is not just theory. This is lived experience. This is law, is life. This is Dissent Dialogues. A very warm welcome to one and all present here, and welcome back to those who listen to us regularly. Today at Dissent Dialogues, we are on a debate where we refuse to accept easy answers. Today, we're diving into a foundational yet deeply contentious debate in political philosophy, Nancy Fraser versus Excel Honeth, on redistribution versus recognition, and mapping its impact on three major Indian legal battles. At its core, the debate today asks, what is justice in an unequal society? Nancy Fraser argues that justice demands both redistribution and recognition. Economic structures produce material inequalities, while cultural hierarchies sustain status subordination. True justice must attack both fronts. To this ground, we'll analyze, coming up first, Indra Sohni versus Union of India 1992, which talks about caste-based reservations and their implications for economic and cultural justice. Coming up next, Navteej Singh Johar versus Union of India 2018, which talks about the decriminalization of homosexuality and the limits of legal recognition. And last but not the least, Supriyo versus Union of India 2023, the Supreme Court's refusal to legalize same-sex marriage and its implications on substantive justice. So, to start the debate formally, joining us today we have Ahana, an advocate of Fraser's integrated model of justice. So, how are you doing today, Ahana?
I'm doing really good, Suryansh. What about you?
I'm doing well too. Excited for the debate today?
Very much so.
Cool, great. Coming up next, we have Kinjal, who believes honest recognition theory is the key, is a true key to justice. How are you doing today, Kinjal?
Hi Suryansh, how are you?
Very well. Next up, we have Vanya, who's our legal realist who is skeptical of both. So, are you skeptical of the debate today as well, Ahana, Vanya?
No, I'm not skeptical at all. I'm very, very excited to dive into this.
I'm so glad. No wonder I misspelled your name to make you spectacle. Next up, we have Nikita, last but not the least, our pragmatist, who focuses on law's function in the real world. So, how are you doing today, Nikita?
Thank you for the lovely introduction, Suryansh.
Why do you
I'm
seem-
doing great. How are you?
I'm fine. You seem tired today. All well with your voice?
Well, it's the debate.
She has a sore throat, so mind you, readers. So now, to begin the debate formally, today we have two extremely influential philosophers, and we know that the central question they're grappling with is how best to understand and address injustices. Honeth and Fraser both analyze the interplay between economic inequality,
redistribution, and social and cultural disrespect, recognition, blah blah blah. Coming up, we have the legal realist.
If I'm not wrong, Hornet and Fraser agree that a comprehensive theory of justice needs to consider both, right?
Yes, you're right. They do agree on that. But they diverge significantly on how each of these aspects of recognition and redistribution relate to each other. Ahana, let's start with Fraser. How does she move beyond the redistribution versus recognition divide?
Well, Fraser argues that justice requires us to consider two distinct but interconnected dimensions: redistribution and recognition. Redistribution will focus on injustices rooted in the economic structure of the society. These will include issues like exploitation, economic marginalization, and deprivation. Such emphasizes that overcoming these injustices requires restructuring and the political economy to ensure a fairer distribution of resources and opportunities. Recognition, on the other hand, addresses injustices stemming from the status order of the society. These involve cultural domination, non-recognition, and disrespect, which can inhibit parity of participation.
Parity of participation. Now that's an interesting phase.
Yes. Parity of participation basically means that everyone should have the chance to participate fully in social life as equals.
Exactly so. So, achieving a parity of participation, according to Fraser, is the ultimate goal of justice. This requires both fair distribution of resources and being recognized and respected by others. Many contemporary social divisions are two-dimensional, meaning they suffer from both maldistribution and misrecognition in ways that are not simply byproducts of each other, but are co-original and primary. For such groups, neither a politics of redistribution alone nor a politics of recognition alone will suffice. Both are absolutely necessary.
Oh, I get it. So, for example, health aides, or childcare workers, or agricultural laborers. People who are disproportionately women and people of color face such low wages and precarious working conditions.
Well, simultaneously their work, which is essential for social reproduction, is often culturally undervalued.
This reminds me of a joke. You know that Indian parents only give their children 3 options of possible career options: a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. And it is rooted in the widespread belief that these jobs form the foundation of any state. Where is farmer? Where is teacher? So I understand how certain jobs, especially those held by women or by people of color, are culturally undervalued and deemed as requiring very little skill.
Well, exactly. Redistribution and recognition are sides of the same coin. You cannot address one without other to achieve true justice. Achieving participatory parity necessitates both objective conditions like economic resources, and that will allow participation, and intersubjective conditions like social respect, and that will ensure one's voice and contribution are valued.
Well, that was a long conversation. Now, let's talk about Hornet's recognition and about how it differs.
So, Hornet proposes a normative monism of recognition. He argues that recognition, when properly understood, can encompass the concerns of redistribution. Hornet develops a differentiated concept of recognition, identifying 3 primary spheres of social recognition that are crucial for development of an, say, intact identity: and individual autonomy, that is like love, care, and emotional support; law, that is having equal rights; and achievement, being valued for your contributions to society.
Now, why is it that these 3 dimensions are important?
I think it's because recognition in the sphere of love builds self-confidence. In the sphere of law or rights, recognition fosters self-respect. And in the sphere of achievement, recognition cultivates self-esteem.
So, yes, Hornet argues that conflicts over distribution are essentially struggles for recognition, where the appropriate evaluation of individuals or group social contributions is being contested. When individuals or group experience maldistribution, it's because their social contributions are not adequately valued or recognized, which leads to a sense of injustice and disrespect.
But Fraser critiques precisely this overemphasis on cultural change. She warns that identity based politics can distract from material inequalities, a process she likes to call the neoliberal hijacking of recognition.
So, as far as I understand, the fundamental disagreement here lies in whether recognition and redistribution are best understood as two distinct but interacting dimensions of justice, as Fraser says, or whether recognition serves as the overarching framework that can encompass and explain all legitimate claims for justice, including those related to economic inequality, according to Horneth.
Oh my god, well. That was a really long conversation today we've had. So now let's analyze Indra Sawhney versus Union of India 1992.
Yes, that's the case that upheld caste based reservations for other backward classes, right?
Yes. Indra Swami versus Union of India, 1992, was a landmark case in Indian constitutional history concerning reservations, which is affirmative action for other backward classes, the OBCs. The Supreme Court upheld the implementation of the Mandal Commission report, which recommended 27% reservation for OBCs in government jobs, while also setting limits to prevent exceeding 50% total reservations and excluding the creamy layer, the economically advanced individuals within OBCs.
Ahana, does this prove Fraser's point?
Absolutely yes, because the verdict blends redistribution and recognition. Reservations provide material redress by ensuring access to education and employment, but they also challenge caste hierarchies where, when OBCs enter elite institutions, they disrupt the prevailing cultural stigma.
I think it is also acknowledgement by the government of the historical social discrimination, exclusion from education, and limited upward mobility that the OBCs had faced.
But the backlash against reservation beneficiaries proves Hornet's critique. Even when given economic mobility, OBCs are often mocked as quota candidates and excluded from social networks. Without full recognition, redistribution alone remains fragile.
But Fraser already anticipates this. She does warn that recognition alone can lead to identity politics, where struggles for symbolic recognition might obscure material inequalities. This is where redistribution comes in. That's why she insists on an integrated approach. Material redress must be accompanied by cultural transformation.
Well, great going, all of you. I didn't know this would be this interesting. Now, let's move to Navtej Singh Johar versus Union of India 2018, which decriminalized homosexuality. Kinjal, is this a recognition-based justice victory?
Definitely it is. Section 377 was a legal codification of misrecognition and it marked the LGBTQ plus people as criminal deviants. Decriminalization was about dismantling that stigma.
But recognition alone doesn't guarantee justice. Queer individuals still face employment discrimination, lack of family inheritance, rights, and legal exclusion from marriage benefits. Fraser argues that Navtej Johar is an incomplete victory. It gives recognition but without redistribution. LGBTQ plus individuals remain economically vulnerable.
This is the core Fraser critique. Recognition politics often creates illusions of progress while leaving material structures unchanged.
Well, finally! Yay, my job is about to end. Supriya versus Union of India 2023, where the Supreme Court refused to legalize same-sex marriage. Is this proof that recognition alone is weak?
Well, the court gave that queer people symbolic respect but denied them material rights, inheritance, taxation, medical decision making. This proves Fraser's point: recognition without redistribution policies is absolutely meaningless.
But can't you redistribute what hasn't been recognized? Without first recognizing LGBTQ plus relationships as legitimate, how can you demand equal material benefits?
Or maybe the problem is that both of you are stuck in outdated categories. Justice isn't just redistribution or recognition. It's about dismantling oppressive institutions altogether. Maybe we need to stop thinking of marriage as the gatekeeper of rights and fight for a system where rights are individual, not tied to relationship status.
Wow, that's a radical take. Interesting, but radical. Do we want assimilation into existing oppressive structures, or do we want a complete rethinking of law and society?
Final verdicts. Who wins, Fraser or Honneth?
Well, absolutely Fraser. Structural injustice demands an integrated approach, both redistribution and recognition.
I support Honneth. I mean, obviously, misrecognition is the root of all oppressions.
Me personally, I think that both are too limited. We need new justice frameworks that go beyond their binary.
Skeptical, eh?
No. We need to adapt justice theories to historical and political context.
Indeed, and that's it for today. Redistribution versus recognition. Where do you stand? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, stay critical and stay tuned. Goodbye. So, today we have Suryansh as the moderator. And we have
Ahana as Fraser supporter.
Vanya as legal realistic.
Kinjal as Honneth supporter.
And Nikita as the pragmatist.
I hope you liked the podcast.